Yeah, I'm gonna go to the inbox right now and pull up some of these questions they got. This is not, so you get to hear the questions I get asked all the time. So
very interested in this one. I watch those videos. So
okay, here it is. Okay, what do you think of David Price? Can he come back from his knockout loss, or was he all hype?
Do you want me to go first, or you?
Yeah, go ahead. You go first.
Look, the thing is, I do my rating system and all that sort of stuff, but the original rating system that I actually had, the guy Thompson, I actually had him winning the fight, but I didn't want to print it because I felt like it was too much. And I sort of altered the ratings a little bit, and I had come up with that would be Price the winner. So it was like a 50-50 thing. Thompson was always a danger. I knew that going into the fight, but a lot of people probably would have thought different and thought, Price is going to walk through him. He's an old man. He's 41. The Tiger. Who cares about him? But I didn't think that. I thought that this is a strict danger for Price. So yeah, you got to give credit to Thompson, because when you look at his losses, he hasn't lost. The people that he has lost to, they're good names. Twice to Klitschko. I'm not sure what the other one is, and he's beaten some good people. He's an experienced pro at heavyweight, and I think he'll give a lot of heavyweights trouble still right now. A lot of the young up-and-comers. Price, Fury said that how can you go down from a soft hit like that? And I have to sort of agree with that. It hit him hard.
The punch did not look that hard, but it's the way his equilibrium. I think he just hit him like in the magic spot, like when Amir Khan gets hit.
Yeah.
He gets hit like on the top of the head or something, and he just his whole body shuts down. Yeah. It's like he got a button up there. He hits.
Yeah.
He just goes. But I picked David Price to win this fight. I thought he was gonna look impressive in this fight, and he did look good.
Yeah,
he did look good. Thompson, you just don't know which Thompson's gonna show up. Yeah. Like if he gonna show up to get a check, is he gonna fight today? You just don't know. He's one of those type of fighters, and that day he felt like fighting.
Yeah,
and he just happened to land a good shot, and I just was shocked that his equilibrium was that messed up. So some people thought it was a fix. People was like, that was a fix. Price threw the fight. I'm like, why would Price throw the fight? That would ruin his career.
No. He would.
But I do think he can come back, and I do think that the Price is not a bum. That he is talented and at that weight class.
Yeah, to answer the question, to answer the question, I would have to say, this is my opinion of it. It's a little bit technical, but I think the people who pick his fights and all that sort of stuff, they need to watch the next opponent that he's in with, because if they put him in with the wrong opponent again, that could ruin his career. He's got to be put in with a bit of a soft touch, a bit like Amir Khan and Molina. I think if he gets in there with, tries to prove himself and gets put in there with someone who's, on the Thompson level, who's got a lot of experience and, could possibly win. Like you put him in with a Chagayev who just won on the weekend with a first round knockout, he could be in trouble if he gets knocked out by one of these guys again, it's not very nice to try and pick yourself up after two losses from knockout when you're only not even 20 fights into your career, especially with all the media hype and all that sort of stuff around you as well. It doesn't help at all, because you got to go out there and perform too. And that, the fighters are still human, so they still got feelings and all that sort of stuff. They still listen to the media and they know what's going on. So, and these sort of things affect them. So I think if you're picking, whoever's picking his fights next, I'm not sure what it is, but whoever's picking his fights next, they need to just slow him down a bit, bring him up slowly. He's already gone up, now he's down. So bring him up slowly again, and then when you get him back up to the top, give him these fights again, and by then the Klitschko's will be gone and all that sort of stuff, but do not put him in there with the Klitschko, do not do that.
All right, well, let's go to the next question. Carcino, so you're saying Canelo is not the best opponent for Mayweather? Come on, man. You know he's the best option for Mayweather after Robert Guerrero. He doesn't have another fight. So do you agree that Canelo is the only other option for Floyd Mayweather after let's say he beats Robert Guerrero? Canelo is the only option for him? Yeah. Is there any other fight that's bigger than him? I guess that's where he's trying to tell me here. That Canelo is the choice.
I mean, I think Canelo is great. I mean, what he's done is, even though people will say he hasn't really fought anyone, but the kid's only young. He's had 41 wins. No, he hasn't been beaten. And you can see it, just like you say, that Gary Russell Jr. looks good and he hasn't had anyone in front of him. You can just tell. You can just tell with Alvarez as well. The way even though people will say, Lopez was a smaller guy and all this sort of stuff, but, there's even videos on YouTube of the eight punch combination on Lopez, and when you look at the way he turns it on, it's pretty ballistic. I mean, that's crazy that the type of power he draws from speed and the body punching combinations and head and uppercut. I mean, he's got the whole lot. I mean, he's scary, but he has to get past Trout. So you can't really talk about him facing Mayweather until he gets past Trout, because Trout's going to be a tough one to get over too, because Trout's a good boxer, and I wouldn't say Cotto is exactly like Canelo because he's a bit older, but he's more in the mold of Canelo, but Canelo is younger and fresher and better and quicker, and so it's hard to take a bearing off Cotto just to compare him to Canelo, to say, Cotto's the same as Canelo, that's why Trout's going to win. It's hard to say that, because I think they're two different athletes at right now, But yeah, he's got to get past Trout.
I'm taking Trout.
Yeah.
But I think that Canelo do have a chance to look good in the fight.
Yeah.
If Trout makes mistakes. It's like if he takes advantage of what Trout gives him. I know what Canelo's looking at Trout, and that where he thinks he can take advantage, he's going to wait for the openings. He's not just going to rush in like Cotto did. Cotto rushed in the door and didn't have any firepower to do anything about it, because Trout really brought the fight to Cotto early, and that's what he's going to have to do with Canelo. You got to bring the fight to Canelo early.
Yeah.
Give him boxing. When he tries to come in and close on the angles, get back like you did before in Cotto in the early rounds, and get your distance to where he can't land his shots.
Yeah.
He has a size advantage over Canelo. He's bigger than Canelo. He's a real big, full-fledged junior middleweight. He really should be fighting at middleweight.
Yeah.
He comes up about 168. He's got height. He's got reach. He's got mobility. And Canelo is yet to fight anybody with his size and his kind of movement.
Yeah.
And Trout does have power, so he might get Canelo's respect, because Canelo does not move his head. Does not move his head.
I mean, most people who follow the sport now, if you go outside of the fans of the sport, most people would be like, Canelo, Trout, who the hell are these guys? They don't even know who they are. But people within the sport know who they are, and they're really looking forward to this fight. They know this is a real deal fight, And this, probably to a lot of boxing fans, this has more appeal than the Mayweather-Guerrero fight, because most fans will see that Mayweather's probably a bit too good for Guerrero, which, is debatable. But they see this as a 50-50 fight, either one of these guys could win. The thing I do like about Trout is he works off his jab, and he has a very sort of he has a style that can win rounds and take him to the end and get himself on a win on the cards. So he's a very good professional. But the only thing with Trout is, I don't want to go too far, but in the last fight with Cotto, it seemed like when Cotto had his moments, he could get inside Trout and he could do some damage if he wanted to. But if he went a little bit further, and that's the only danger that I see for Trout against Canelo here, is that Canelo has that next level to take it a little bit further than what Cotto did. I don't know how Trout's going to manage that. I don't know whether he's prepared for that. But I know one thing, Canelo's going to bring a little bit more than what Cotto brought. And we'll see what happens, I guess.
Okay, let's go to the next question. There it is, another. I get Mayweather questions all the time.
Yeah.
Sure. Like, why are you hating on 50 so hard for Floyd Mayweather for? What has Floyd done compared to 50? As a manager, you shouldn't be hating on him. 50's going to do good as a promoter. You just got to give him time. He's learning on the job. So I guess basically his question is, do you think 50 Cent is doing a great job with the SMS promotion as of right now?
Well, I like Billy Dib, but the fact that he signed him on a 3-year contract was a bit crazy. He hasn't really signed names. He has Darrell, who's like his last fight wasn't so great, was it? I mean, he's not promoting to his potential. I like the ideas he has as far as entertainment. I think that's great, bringing music along and entertaining the fans. I think that's great and all that sort of stuff. And another thing, this is what I have to say, maybe if he watches this video, he might steal the idea off me, but I doubt it. He needs to get into the heavyweight scene, because that's where in another couple of years it's going to be hot there. You got Tyson Fury, he's basically like, he's got the mouth, he could become like the Muhammad Ali of our days, where he talks the talk and walks the walk. He needs to get on that heavyweight scene, and he needs to get some guys that are good in his banner. Mayweather's doing the best to his potential with what he's got, and he's just started, and I think Mayweather's a little bit further ahead actually with his promotional company at the moment. I like Mayweather Promotions. TMT, I'm still not really sold on.
Well, I look at it like this, and I'll keep it short. 50 Cent he's just starting, and yes, he has all these ideas. I just don't think that he has the right people around him that's advising him. I mean, he's helping everyone else with their cards, the people that will work with him, like Lou DiBella and Bob Arum. The only problem with 50 Cent is that he's not hot anymore as a musician.
Yeah.
He can come out and perform. He thinks that holds a lot of weight. It really doesn't hold the weight as if they had Lil Wayne or any of these other guys that these younger kids and these younger audience gravitate to.
Yeah.
His market now is really just shock value, or he's on social media networks, but he's really not there for his musical talents anymore. Floyd Mayweather, the reason why TMT is so successful is the fact that they have Floyd Mayweather as their main guy.
Yeah.
And he's the undefeated champion, the biggest guy in complete sports altogether. So they have that as their marketing piece, and he gravitates to the rest of it. He's the bargaining chip.
Yeah.
50 Cent as the bargaining chip doesn't really hold any weight in the boxing world.
Mm-hmm.
So he can come slide down from the ceiling, and it doesn't really do anything for anybody.
I mean, you're totally right there. I mean, like, Floyd Mayweather is still relevant now, whereas 50 Cent, his music isn't really relevant now. His music was relevant back in the days of, remember that album, the one before Bulletproof, Get Rich or Die Trying. It's a great album, all that sort of stuff. But I mean, Mayweather's still relevant now. He's still winning at the top level, and pretty much. Don't know what else to say.
Right. So we'll go to the next one here.
Yep.
Hey, a Mayweather Pacquiao question.
That's unusual.
Where it is. Did you know all this before? Because you called it about Pacquiao. Now that Pacquiao's been exposed, do you ever think that the Mayweather-Pacquiao fight will ever happen? Well, that's a good question. Do you think it'll ever happen?
2 chances, slim and none. It won't happen. It won't happen. You know, like, I used to hold up hope years and years ago. I thought maybe it might happen, but I mean, Pacquiao would have to be one of the 6 if Mayweather's going to fight those 6. I mean, I don't know what Mayweather's plans are. You probably know a bit more, but I can't. In the 6 fights, I don't think if he's going to make the 6 fights, he's going to stretch himself too far. You know, especially a Pacquiao fight. You know, that would be good. It would be the biggest money-making event in the sport still. I don't see it happening. Also, you got Pacquiao's coming from the loss of Marquez. I don't think he's even ready for that. You know, like, for him to take on Mayweather now would be absolute suicide. You know, he's just going to... It would be. I mean, he's got to build himself back up again. This is the way the sport goes. You take a loss, you build yourself back up. That's how it goes. And for people to think they can take a loss and then so straight away jump in with the big guns straight up, you know, it's pretty risky. You know, you can't just do that. There's sort of you rise to the top, and then when something happens, you drop. You know, you got to rise back up again. It's not the case of you just rise up and then come down a little and then rise back up again. You know, that's the way it goes. If you look at the history of the sport, you have to come back from a loss slowly. You can't come back straight away into a big fight. That's why when Freddie Roach talks about, Manny's ready for, you know, whoever, you know, whatever names are out there. I mean, it's a little bit silly. I think he needs to take the Amir Khan route at the moment, what he's doing. I think most people would say Julio Diaz is a bad opponent for Amir Khan. No, it's a good opponent actually for Amir Khan, because it means he takes that next step, you know, to building his attitude, positive attitude up. You know, he needed the Molina fight to get back on track. Now this one gets him back up there, you know. And if he went straight back into a Danny Garcia fight, it probably would have been the same scenario, and then that's it, his career's finished. You know, why do you want to see a guy's career finish at the age of, 25, 26? You know, like, he's still got plenty of years left. So.
Right. Well, for me, I will not touch that question because everybody on my page know what I think about that Mayweather-Pacquiao situation. So we'll go on to the next question. This is about Adrien Broner and the HBO thing. They say, with the latest details about HBO not going to do business with Golden Boy in the near future and all of this, it's sure to hype up that Mr. HBO will not fight on their network. So basically what he's saying is, after Adrien Broner's last fight, you know, is he Mr. HBO, Adrien Broner, like, will he not rejoin HBO as well? Is he just going to leave and go to Showtime? So do you think HBO is going to keep Adrien Broner and let everybody else go? Or do you think everybody's going to Showtime?
I think actually what's happened here is the George Foreman thing is interesting, I have to say. The fact that George Foreman is going to be with HBO now, he brings a lot of money to the sport. He's actually the highest paid athlete in the whole of the sport, in the history of the sport. You know, he's worth more than everyone out there. You know, and HBO's got him. They got Aaron. You know, they've got plenty of money drive behind them. So, I mean, HBO is not going without. And Broner is important to HBO, don't get me wrong. But HBO with Foreman and Aaron and all the big cats with all the money behind them, and HBO, I mean, they're going to win anyway. So I guess Showtime gambles with Oscar De La Hoya and Mayweather. That's the path that they choose as far as where their money comes from. But don't forget, Mayweather has to win his fights. Do you know what I mean? If he takes a loss next, Showtime's in the poops. You know, like HBO doesn't have that. They're not riding on anything. They're not riding on a single thing. So realistically, most people might say, oh yeah, Showtime's number one and HBO's trailing and all that sort of stuff. But at the end of the day, when you look at dollars and the dollars make sense, HBO is still leading the race as far as money goes, you know. And yeah, I think Broner can do whatever he wants. You know, if he wants to go Showtime or HBO, it's up to him. I guess he just goes where the money is because that's what seems to be important to him. But I mean, I think I watched a video where you said that HBO gave Broner an offer of 8 fights for $40 million. No?
They gave him a 7-fight deal for $14 million. That was along the multi-fight offer.
Yeah.
It was not 40, it was $14 million.
Okay.
And the fact that they turned it down. Broner doesn't want to be locked down that long. Yeah. They're looking for more than three-fight deal. Mm-hmm. Not anything multi like 6.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that was a bit of a desperate move from HBO to try and steal up Broner. But also at the same time, it's a little bit disrespectful because they're basically saying to him, you take this or whatever, you know. And obviously...
No, they're willing to work with them. They just don't like to be extorted. And when Golden Boy's saying, like, either you do this or we're going to Showtime, they don't like to keep hearing that over and over and over again. So that's why they like to assign people to multi-fight deals when they feel that they have built up to a certain status. You can get multi-fight deals and lock them down. Now, other fighters, smaller fighters, that's who this deal really going to hurt. It's going to hurt the Kareem Mayfields, Keith Thurmans, guys like that who are just getting their name and getting exposure on HBO. Mm-hmm. This will hurt them because now they have to jockey for position on Showtime and figure out how they're going to bring all this talent and how they're going to get them seen. Yeah. As much as well as they was on Showtime. But I think HBO, once they start seeing 4 fights and 3 fights on Showtime and top ranked fights, pretty soon top ranked doesn't have a lot of division. They really don't have a lot of people in the 140-pound division or even in the welterweight division. That's why they have to do rematches. You see a lot of rematches with them. 3 fights, 5 fights with Pacquiao and Marquez. As far as the talk, they got 4 in the bag now. You're looking at Rios, he's fighting a rematch. Tim Bradley might be fighting a rematch with Provodnikov. I mean, all of these fights, they're going to have to keep doing over and over again. Pretty soon, that's going to dry out with the fans. Fans are going to want to see what's going on with these other fighters. With these Danny Garcias, Lucas Matisse, all these guys are going to be going up to 147, welterweight 140. And HBO is not going to be getting any of that money. That's going to play in a big factor because I think they're going to change their position on the Golden Boy. They're going to have to because they're going to be looking at some of those big, intriguing fights that people are going to want to see in the boxing world. And if it's not coming from HBO, they lose status and they lose subscribers. Yeah. When you lose subscribers, buddy, HBO will entertain that. Yeah. Not as we want Golden Boy back, but they're as buying a fight. They'll be open to buying a fight.
I feel like it's pretty even. You know, like, don't get me wrong. I think Golden Boy puts on the better fights, but I think it's pretty even now. And I think the thing that brought it back to level field was the Bradley fight because it was very entertaining. People loved that fight, and now it opens up new doors for Arum with tournaments and stuff like that. And then, like you said, you've got the younger guys coming through. Golovkin versus Shida is a pay-per-view. I don't understand that, but anyway. Golovkin is still one of those key figures too that people take to, you know, like he has this very sort of, he's got an appeal. But I mean, what was I going to say? Yeah, Broner. about the contract. I think if you're doing 1.4 million views and HBO is offering you that, I mean, that's why I'm saying it's a bit disrespectful, because HBO knows that they're getting the views. So they're getting the views and then they're trying to cheapen him down. So he's going to put all this out there, but he's only going to be fighting for a minimal amount when he could actually make so much more. If he's getting 1.4 million buys and HBO is winning and Adrien Broner is losing out massively, you know, like he should be getting paid what he's worth. So I can understand why he's sort of in the middle of HBO and Showtime, because he wants to go where the money is, because he feels like he's worth that. And he does carry all the headlines lately.
See, you gotta look at that. Those are not buys. Those are just actual homes, which it just came free with your subscription.
But it's still
now
view.
that doesn't mean like
view.
if he puts on a pay-per-view, he's gonna get 1.4 million buys.
Yeah.
People get that kind of confused. That's just the viewership. Yeah. Most of the people were watching the Beyonce thing. Yeah. Like that got like the highest views. And most of the people that was watching Beyonce, that was like a trickle effect. They stayed on the program because the fight came on right after Beyonce. So now you got the people that was watching Beyonce going right on to this transitioning to a boxing fight. So now you're the boyfriend or husband who had to sit through Beyonce and watch this concert with his wife. Has now got something to keep him intrigued to stay on HBO. He's got a fight coming on next. So this is how you get the family who normally would get together to watch this Beyonce thing to tune in to watch some boxing and programming, and they will all get familiar with the fighter. It was good promotion. It was set up perfectly, and it was very successful. Just like boxing on CBS, they had a football game on, and then they had the boxing event come on right after it on CBS. Yeah. So the people who were watching the football game, they didn't turn the channel. They stayed right there and they watched Leo Santa Cruz fight on this Golden Boy card that ended up turning into a Showtime event. But the first opening fights were on national TV. Yeah. And Santa Cruz is great television, especially for national television. Now you got him seen for millions of viewers, and then they got to see a good boxing fight, which they probably didn't even know was coming on television. Yeah. So it's good marketing strategy to get these views. But eventually it's going to, in the long run, it's not going to work. Something's going to have to come along and generate some extra revenue as far as from Top Rank. And this is Golden Boy's plan, is to take over divisions. See, when you take over a division, they know the lighter weights don't really generate that much money. Mm-hmm. The smaller the weight, normally the smaller the revenue. Yeah. Like Nonito Donaire and all these guys, they put up decent numbers. Yeah. But they don't, it's very rare that they make all the money. Now they're starting to make really, like Donaire's getting paid a minimum of $1 million a fight, which is usually unheard of at that low of weight. Yeah. Prince Nazim is the only one to really make a lot of money to be at the lighter weights. Yeah. I feel that when you got money fights and the bigger, intriguing fights that the boxing fans want to see, is eventually those guys are going to come from HBO, because those fights are coming from the 140-pound division and the 147-pound. And Golden Boy pretty much owns everybody that's in the 140-pound division. HBO's entirely vested into the 168 division. They're very vested in Andre Ward, and so they want to make sure they pay the money to Chad Dawson and all those guys to stay there, so Andre Ward got people to fight. So 175 and 168 is where they're vested. Golden Boy's not really vested in there. They only got Bernard Hopkins. Really, they don't really vest in those higher weights. Their money is really in the 140, 147, because that's where the gold mine is. Where Top Rank really doesn't have anything there. Brandon Rios, they have to move him up because they don't have anybody at welterweight, and they don't really have anybody at 140. Yeah. So now they're forced to move Brandon Rios up because they don't have another pay-per-view star. Golden Boy has Mayweather. They built Canelo up to where he could start doing his pay-per-views. Aaron's got Chavez Jr. and Manny Pacquiao's at the end of his rope.
Yeah.
When he leaves, he wants to build Brandon Rios up into a big pay-per-view star.
Yeah.
So that's why he's moving him up in the ranks. And I think he's kind of moving him up in weight a little too fast. 140 is good, but eventually, like Rios already wants to fight the top guys at 140. Aaron doesn't want that. He wants him to go after this fight, go up to 147 or fight at a catchweight against Tim Bradley.
Yeah.
You know, and then that'll be a good fight, an exposure fight for Rios. And they want to kind of put that one on a pay-per-view.
But don't you feel like if a fighter's getting 1.4 million views, that he's actually drawing some attention from people around the world? Like, that's my opinion of the whole thing. It might be 1.4 million buys, but it's 1.4 million views. 1.4 million people have viewed that. They've actually viewed what he's done there. So, I mean, they're going to talk. You know, this person talks to that person, this talk, you know, like so on and so on. You know, and then that's when it boosts the sport up. You know, and that's when, you know, that's when the money starts to come. You know, because it comes from outside of the sport, not within the sport. And people want drama and excitement. You know, like they don't want two guys going, yeah, well, I'm going to go in, I'm going to win tonight, you know, like they don't want to hear that, you know what I mean? They want something exciting, they want something dramatic, and that's what Adrien Broner brings. Even though people might think of him as this and that, whatever, and I know people have been talking sexual diseases and all sorts of stuff on Twitter about him. But, I mean, like, he does bring it, you know what I mean? Like, you need that charismatic figure in the sport, you know, like you need the wild one, the crazy one, the joker, you know, the one who brings the entertainment. If you don't have that, you got to think about the sport outside of the sport, you know, the people that don't, like if you go to show a mate, you know, like, oh, check this guy out, you know, like you want to be able to tell them why you think they should watch it, you know. You don't want to say, oh yeah, because he said that he was going to go in and win tonight, you know, like people don't want to hear that, you know, and people want some drama and excitement in their lives, and I think that's what Adrien Broner brings, and that's why I don't mind it actually, but as long as...
And I think HBO is going to be smart enough to figure out a way to get him back. His contract is up in April. I guarantee you they're going to work out a new deal with Adrien Broner that's going to make him very rich, and it'll keep him either on Showtime, or where HBO is going to have to try to buy a fight to get him back on HBO.
Yeah.
To get him back on HBO. But I think eventually it'll happen.
Yeah, I mean...
we're going to leave the questions there because the videos are going too far.
Yeah. All right.
So I'm going to stop the